Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can use swipe actions in SwiftUI. Now, the first thing I want you to do is remove the onDelete modifier, the toolbar, and the edit button, as well as the function used to delete specific contacts from our array that we use with onDelete. And the reason for this is because onDelete does not work very well with swipe actions. So in order for swipe actions to work properly, we need to remove onDelete altogether. All right, so what are swipe actions? Well, swipe actions are a way for you to swipe on the leading or trailing edge of a list cell and perform some kind of action. There can be multiple actions. So if you want to have an edit, favorite, and delete button on one edge and maybe something else on the opposite end, you can do that. Whereas with onDelete, you can only have one swipe action, so to speak. So let's go ahead and actually create a swipe action. So in Xcode, on your actual cell, so in this case it's a contact cell view that I've created, we're going to go ahead and do dot swipe action, or swipe actions, I should say. This will take in an edge. So what edge do you want your swipe actions to be on? Do you want it to be on the leading or the trailing edge? Allows full swipe is a boolean that determines whether or not you want a full swipe on your cell to execute an action. And then the content is just a closure that takes in several buttons. And these buttons will be used as our swipe actions. Pretty simple stuff. Alright, so we will do that. We'll say the edge is going to be the trailing edge. So, and then for allows full swipe, we'll say false. Although you don't have to include this Boolean parameter, or the edge parameter for that matter. They do have reasonable defaults. And then for our content, we'll have that as a trailing closure. Now inside of here, we're going to have 4 buttons. We're going to have an edit, call, message, and delete button. Now the order of these swipe actions matters. And the way that they are rendered in the UI is this. For the leading edge, at least, or rather for the trailing edge, the swipe action that is on the furthest towards the specific edge we specify, so the trailing most swipe action is going to be the first one. And then subsequent buttons are going to be further towards the leading edge. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll say button, and we want, let's see, we want one with a role. There we go. So the role is going to be .destructive, and the reason why this is going to have a role of .destructive is because this is our delete button, right? So, and delete buttons should be red, and the destructive role will make it red. Our action is going to be nothing. And then our label is going to be a label view with delete as its label string. And then for its symbol, it'll have a system. Okay, something is not right. So we'll say label with a delete and a system image with a string of trash.fill. All right. So there's our delete button. Next is going to be message. So we'll say button our action is again going to be nothing. With our label, our label is going to be a label view with its string being message. So there we go, message. With the system image being message.fill. Now, while I am using this for something that isn't technically referring to Apple's Messages app, like the requirements specify, this is just an example. So unless you're referring to, so don't use this symbol if you're not referring to Apple's Messages app. Just keep that in mind. All right. The third button we're going to have is for call. And this will be phone.fill as our system image. So we'll say button with a blank action, and the label is going to be a label view with call as its text and a system image of phone.fill. And finally is our edit button. So we'll say button with a blank action again and a label of label edit and a system image of pencil, like that. Now let's go ahead and set the tint colors for these buttons. Edit is going to be a tint of .blue. Call is going to be a tint of .green. So .tint .green, like that. For message, it's going to be purple, so .tint .purple. And then we don't need to set a tint for our delete button because destructive does that for us. All right, so here we go. We have all of our swipe actions specified. We know that we shouldn't allow full swipes, and we know that our swipe actions are going to be on the trailing edge of our cell. If we save this and run our code, we get a bit of failure. Okay. Okay, so we have an incorrect label here somewhere. Let's take a look. Okay. Now let's try to run it. All right. Now that I have fixed my typo, here's all of our names. And then when we swipe, we can see all of our swipe actions. And they're all in order exactly how we expected. So from trailing to leading, we have our delete button. We have message, we have call, and then we have edit. Now, if you read the human interface guidelines, there is guidance on how many swipe actions there should be maximum. So I'm just doing 4 here to demonstrate that you can have many swipe actions and they can have many different colors applied to them to help the user differentiate them visually, but you shouldn't just rely on color alone and all of that, right? So that does it for this video on swipe actions. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.